Okay, so we are live. I always get caught off guard. Um, it's Madison Chase. It's yes or no, your entertainment source and news option or news option. And again, we're talking about another sad topic today. But go ahead, Steph. I want you to say hey to the people.
Hey guys, I'm Steph, hanging out with you today.
Okay, so today we're talking about the Orlando shooting in Florida again. And there are so many, I think when a story breaks, there's so many conflicting views and information, and the media doesn't always get it right until they do further investigation. So just want to throw that out there. I'm actually reading the story, and I'm actually going to put the link to where I'm reading the story from. It's actually from CNN. The shooter, he's an American-born man. He pledged allegiance to ISIS. He gunned down 49 people Sunday at a gay nightclub in Orlando. The report saying that it is the deadliest mass shooting in the United States and the nation's worst terror attack since 9/11. And there's some confusing information too, but the gunman, his name is Omar Mateen. He's 29. He's from Fort Pierce, Florida. He was interviewed by the FBI in 2013 and 2014, but he was found out not to be a threat. That's what the FBI said. He called 911 during the attack to pledge allegiance to ISIS again. And I read another story where he went twice to overseas where ISIS is. And he mentioned to Boston Marathon bombers, according to a U.S. official, that Orlando police shot and killed Mateen. His ex-wife said she thinks he was mentally ill. And I know we read another story saying that he mentioned it to her and she tried to talk him out of it, which I think is bizarre in the first place. After a standoff of 3 hours while people were trapped inside the club, they desperately called and left text messages for their family and friends. Police crashed into the building with an armored vehicle and stun grenades and killed Mateen. So I do know that 49 people lost their lives and 53 people were injured. And they said it appeared that he was well organized and well prepared. So that's where we're going to end it. My first question, I want to say to the families and the victims and the people and the survivors, like, this is a tragedy that we continue to see over and over again. So my heart and my prayers go out to the family. But my first question for you, Steph, is, are you just as responsible if someone tells you that they intend to harm people or someone or an individual and you don't notify the authorities? Are you just as responsible?
I'm going to say, and I feel like, as you mentioned, there are a lot of, facts and stuff that are still coming to fruition about this tragedy. So if some facts change, we would, we apologize in advance if some facts change, but we are doing this just based on the that is currently out right now. And if you have more information, please leave it in the comments. The more information, the more people that get educated about this, the bigger conversation that gets started. That's what we're going for here. So by all means, that is welcome. Now, I'm just gonna have to say, yes, I mean, if you are told, if someone tells you that they're gonna carry out and act like this, you gotta tell somebody. And even also in the same lines with that, if you see something weird, you got to tell somebody. We live in this day and age where certain things have happened and people want to try and be politically correct, and they don't want to say they might think something because they might think they're racially profiling somebody or this, that, the other thing. All that goes to the side there. If you think someone is going to do something to take people's lives, regardless if they're black, white, red, orange, green, with things coming out their head, Muslim, Jewish, gay, straight, Christian, whatever that person is, if you feel that inside, you got to tell somebody. Like, I would rather somebody see me and think that they were scared of me and then check me and find nothing. Like, I wouldn't be mad at that. Like, I wouldn't be mad if someone said, hey, I got a weird feeling from Steph over there, and the cops came and searched me. I'd be like, search me, I'm good, because I want to be safe and I want everybody else to be safe. So with all this security, with all this stuff, like, you got to say something. And if for some reason you are, you know, thought to be checked for a wrong reason, for this, that, like, people make mistakes. I feel like we all got to kind of sit in a place, and I know it's unfortunate, and I'm not deluded that it's not always this way, but I feel as if we want to sit in a place that people do have good intentions. At least that's where I want to sit, because if I don't sit there, then the terrorist wins.
Yes. And not just terrorists, but I think love should win. And I think when we have politicians who are speaking another language where they're, you know, going after particular races, Mexicans, Muslims, and, you know, I always think it's interesting that, you know, if you're mentioning those two racial groups and races, you're definitely including African Americans. So I think we got to stop with that language, and we have to stop allowing it. Yes, there's freedom of speech, but when your freedom of speech attacks a whole race and a whole ethnicity and a whole culture, then here is where, I'm not saying this is the cause of it, but that hate language, it doesn't prevail, and we end up seeing continuous things like this where, you know, people their acts of violence against a particular group of people. It continues to happen. So I can't say, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Steph, that you definitely need to, you know, if you see something suspicious, but also I think we have to be better with our words, and we have to be careful about spewing language about groups and races and individuals. Like, we got to stop that. Because I think this is what happens, and it's, well,
yeah, because then you get someone who, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you can be mad, you can be angry, you can be all these things at this shooter, but at the end of the day, there was something lacking inside him, whether it be a mental illness, a lack to feel included or a part of a family, a group, something like, there's something that lacks in order for you, and again, it could be mental illness, but there's something that is offset than the majority of the people for you to actually carry out an act like this. So some, you know, pain body of some kind was in this person for him to go out and think that this was a way to accomplish something.
Yeah, no, I agree. But again, you know, it speaks to the language that we use when referring to people in general. You know,
exactly. We all just got to learn to love one another.
We have to learn to love. Like, we got to stop the hate and making that acceptable and publicizing it. Like, I think, you know, some social, like, political candidates are getting so much, you know, media coverage, and this is essentially what they're promoting, this hate language, you know, against certain races. So, and people that are different. Anyway, so the second question is, should clubs have metal detectors?
I think they should. I mean, in this day and age, you get a metal detector in the doorway. Like, if you want to go in and party, you got to walk through it. It can't be that expensive, and it could maybe prevent something like this from happening. Absolutely, I'm not mad at that.
Yes, I mean, you said it, and I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think we're coming to an age in this century where, you know, we probably need metal detectors everywhere now, in the library, at the grocery store. Like, it's come to that. I think, you know, we can't ask for one, freedom of speech, and, you know, the safety. Like, I think those two things go hand in hand. We have to be more cautious about the words that we say. Last question. If the FBI or there's an investigation in reference to you speaking certain languages, hate language, should you continue to be on an FBI list to prevent potential threats like this?
See, I'm going to say this. If you've gotten to the place where you're on an FBI watch list, you stay on the list.
Yeah.
You're getting your hand slapped and you're not allowed to like go to the bowling alley. Like you're on an FBI list. That's like the top of the top. And not only have you been questioned once, you've been questioned twice. So why this guy was not on this list and was able to get these weapons in his hand is beyond me. And I know everyone can go every which way about gun control, and I'm not trying to start that, like open that can of worms right this minute, but what I'm saying is there are basics. The FBI has an eye on you. You shouldn't be allowed to get a gun.
Yeah, like he was on the watch list in 2013 and 2014. So why was he not on the list? So again, this is a venue for us to start a conversation, to hopefully start a solution in a movement so that things like this don't ever happen. I think, you know, the loss of anyone's life is important. Whatever, it's crazy. Like I have no words, but my heart goes out to the family members, and it breaks my heart that, you know, and I'm thankful that some people did survive. So that's a great thing. But I think one thing that we need to consider too is that talking to someone and grieving, like I'm a huge supporter of grieving the loss of anyone. So I am going to put some information in the link, some things that have helped me through my grieving process, and to be okay with, you know, having those days where you are sad. So
yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. And again, we don't have all the facts, and we're just really creating this venue for us to start conversations and, you know, to really speak in love, however you decide to speak. And I know people have freedom of choice, but I have the choice to not take in your negative comments. And I know people do it a lot of times on the YouTube page, but we're really, our hearts are to start a conversation to hopefully create solutions and to hopefully come and love so that we could hopefully, you know, spread that. So I'm Madison Chase. I'll put all my social media handles in the description below. And I'm also going to ask the questions. I think it's the little I in the little circle with the questions. We definitely want to hear your opinions and your yes or your no, and weigh in. And please, you know, for all the new subscribers, thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for leaving comments. So Steph Z, tell everybody where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IAMSTEFZ. You can also leave comments on this video. I'll be happy to get back to you. And my YouTube page is Steph Z TV. And all the Stephs, it's Steph with an F. And again, our hearts go out to everyone that has suffered, to everyone just in the world that doesn't feel love at all points and times. I love you.
I know, me too. I'm a lover. I love everybody.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Steph. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
later.